Hey, this is Ramon channel, it's Alpha Centurion, and today we are going to be responding to Chay. He is a YouTube Muslim apologist. Unfortunately, his comments were taken down by YouTube as soon as they were posted. I did keep the receipts though, I do have it, so luckily I was able to save it before they erased it, so I have a copy. And when I went to his channel recently, actually just before I started this video, and pretty much all his videos have been taken down. So unfortunately, I can't just link to his channel. But basically, I took his comments and I put each sentence or each point into a different, separated them out. It came out to about 40 different points or comments that he had on my video. I thought I'd respond to each one, just because I hear a lot of Muslims on my channel saying a lot of the same stuff, but not all together, not all in one shot like he's trying to do. He's trying to make a point that he never gets to, which is a little lame. It's just too bad. In fact, a lot of people who watch my channel don't seem to understand whether I'm doing the Bible or I'm doing the Quran or I'm doing the Bhagavad Gita or I'm doing the Iliad or the Odyssey. I'm doing it through a literary and historical standpoint. I'm using literary criticism. I'm not getting into theology on it. Doesn't have to be 100% tied to the religious thought, so you can take each concept as it comes. That's what I do, and I know a lot of people don't like that, but anyway, that's what I'm going to be doing here. I'm going to be giving answers on a literary and historical and philosophical standpoint. I'm not going to be talking from a religious standpoint, so let me just get the religious stuff out of the way right now, because that is relevant to Chay's comments. I'm a Catholic, I'm a Christian, so I'm not going to be talking dogma in this video. I'm going to be talking historical and literary criticism when it comes to the Bible and the Quran. Just FYI, that doesn't always coincide with Catholic dogma. So just because it's academically accurate doesn't mean that it's what actually happened. It has to do with a thing called probability, which is something we'll get into here. Maybe not in this video, but maybe in a different installment. But anyway, let's go. So the very first thing that Hugh says is that I don't think you understand your religion. Well, I don't think you understand Christianity or Catholicism at all, Hugh, not by your comments and not by the videos that you had that are now taken down. You clearly have a very biased understanding of different religions. The second thing is that in your response, you put a post to a third-party video that you didn't do. Please do not, anyone watching this, please do not post links to third-party videos. For one thing, YouTube doesn't like it and will delete the post before I have a chance to read it. And secondly, I don't like it, as I don't want to be seen, I don't want it to seem as if I am promoting material that I don't agree with. Third, he says that he says that Islam and Christianity are identical. They are not identical. They are extremely, extremely different. It is rare that I say that religions are completely separated out. Like I can see in Taoism, a lot of Christianity and Taoism go well together. A lot of Judaism and Christianity go good together. Judaism and Christianity and Buddhism. There's a lot of stuff that mixes together. There's a lot of very strong, stringent theological reasons why they don't mix, but there's also a lot in there that can mix in. So when I say that Islam and Christianity don't mix, I'm saying a very strong statement. They don't mix. They do not have the same ethics. They don't have the same theological understandings. They're not the same religion. They're not anywhere near each other. Fourth thing he says is, first thing, the earliest form of the New Testament is a little scrap of parchment the size of a credit card with several verses from the 2nd century written in Greek. He's sort of correct. There is no New Testament at that time. There are some writings, but that hadn't been canonized yet. But there is, I believe it's Mark or Matthew. There's a small parchment of that. Almost everything that he says actually comes straight from Bart Ehrman, which is a real shame, because Bart Ehrman's a really good theologian and a really good historical critic of the Bible, and to see his work bastardized like this is a little pathetic. Number 5. Mark, he goes, Mark is said to be the most original, and Mark is said to have been written 40 to 60 years after Jesus. So he seems to be having trouble understanding that first it was oral tradition from different Christian groups or different Christian churches. So there's a Johannine church, there's a Petrine church, there's each of the 12 apostles went out by 2. There's actually more than 12. They all went out by 2, and they formed and founded churches, and they founded multiple churches each. In each group of churches through a different tradition. So this tradition, the Mark tradition, has its own testament that they would use in their churches. And eventually different traditions would meet, and some would coincide and work well together, and some would not. And there is a critical theory that's not proven, because remember we're talking about probability. There's a critical theory that says that one version influences the next version until you get to John, because John's its own thing, completely unrelated. There are other schools that say Luke and John are unrelated to the first 2. That's a little bit more rare. There's other traditions that say that all 4 of them are completely unique gospels that come up on their own. And then there's another version that says there's a Q, which is there's an original sayings of Jesus or some kind of record that's being used. Okay? So there are different understandings of how these traditions arise, but eventually these traditions get written down in what's called Gospels. 6. So the only trace of any New Testament copy is 150 years after its original copy, in the form of a little scrap with maybe several verses. So there is no original copy. There's no autograph of the New Testament. There's no one single Injil, like a lot of Muslim apologists seem to indicate. Jesus wasn't handed a book. The Gospels are written about Jesus, and these traditions arise maybe anywhere from 30 to 40 years after Jesus died. But that's not when the traditions about him arise. That's when they were written down. They were being told all the way through. The book of Acts documents this very well. The first parts of the Bible, the earliest parts of the New Testament, are actually the epistles, and the epistles cover all this stuff. Like it explains what is being said about Jesus. So it's not like this stuff is a mystery. He's trying to confuse later Gnostic and heretical texts with early oral tradition, and those aren't the same thing at all. All right, continuing on. Number 7, the first full manuscript of the New Testament in our possession today is from the 4th century, maybe 350 years after the original was written. Again, there is no original, A. B, the first ones that were written down, so they would hear an oral tradition and they'd write it down, then that version would get passed on to someone else, and the way that manuscripts were written was they were handwritten down. That's why they're manuscripts, script written by hand. So I don't even know what he's talking about. Even the Quran was written by hand. It wasn't just orally said over and over again. Eventually it was written down. So I don't know where he's coming from. I know what he's trying to get at, but it just doesn't make any sense. Then we go to number 8. So we don't have any full copies at all until 400 years after Jesus. We already covered that. 94% of ancient Greek manuscripts of the New Testament are from the 9th century. Sort of has that correct. So most of the stuff that we have from ancient literature, not just the Bible, comes from the medieval age. It was medieval scribes who had copied them down. Those are the most expansive copies that we have of ancient manuscripts. There are ancient manuscripts dating before then. You can find ancient manuscripts in ancient Egypt. You can find steles. You can find stone carvings. But paper doesn't last forever. Parchment doesn't last forever. So at some point, what you have is what you have. and sometimes only little fragments survive. All right, that's 9. I think that's a good place to stop for now. Yeah. So, peace, like, and subscribe. I hope you like this first installment of Answering Who. I don't know how many of these I'm going to do. He has 40 comments. I don't know if I'm going to do all 40. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope the new mic sounds great. Peace.